everybody. Welcome to Build Time episode number 19. My name is Stefan Kudla, education lead here at Cosmic, and excited for this one. We're talking about Next.js 13 Metadata API. Now, if you have an application already built in Next.js, you might be using something like Next SEO or maybe your own custom solution. That's what we were doing on our developer portfolio here. We had a custom solution handling metadata from our CMS and building our application with it. Worked very well until we started realizing that with the structural differences of Next.js 13 with the head, we're running into this issue where the containing element was not allowing these links here at the footer to actually scroll to the top. So we had this bug where we would click on any link on our page and it would just retain the scroll Y position of the page, and we needed to fix that. So through sifting through some of these bugs, I realized that, well, the jump here was to do Next.js 13 metadata, and honestly, I've been waiting to do this as it's always nice to use a built-in solution for a framework you're using. So I just wanted to talk about it. Now, Next.js 13 metadata provides an API for you to configure all sorts of, the basic metadata like the title and the description of the page. So what you see here at the top, or what you would see when you share this page. So if I were to pull up some metadata checker tool, maybe not that one, meta tags.io, cool. So basically what you'd see here, the description, the title, and of course we have, in this tutorial, we have set up our open graph as well as Twitter cards, Twitter descriptions. So let's go through it a bit. It allows you to set the title, the description, open graph properties. You can even get into the more complex handling of metadata like JSON LD. You can actually handle indexing as well. If we find the API reference, we can go, you see there's robots. You could set robots. You can set Googlebot to index your page and to do all sorts of things. So yeah, let's get into it. And greatly enough, it turned out that we were able to handle a lot of these properties directly in Cosmic and build a really cool properties that you can actually just control all these things without having to go into your code to change the metadata. So I'm going to pull up the template here built with Next.js 13. It's Tailwind CSS. And one of the first things you can do is you can actually create this function instead of just the metadata. You can handle the metadata very statically, but you can create a function called generate metadata. So generate metadata is provided by Next.js, and it allows you to call an asynchronous top-level function. And the cool thing about this is you can call any function within this. So you can fetch you can fetch metadata from a headless CMS, and that's what we're doing here. So we're using our Cosmic JS SDK, our JavaScript SDK, to get some of these pages, get some of these object types from the CMS. So as you can see, we're calling all these at the same time using promise.all. We're getting some data for our home page, some data for social configuration. So in the template, this is like our resume is held here, and some of our social links are just held globally, so we can access those throughout our entire application, which we do. And we're also just getting some of these site settings, and I'll explore that now. So as you can see on this home page, we're controlling a lot of this content in Cosmic. So we have an object type here. And right off the bat, you'll see I have meta fields in here, meta title, meta description, and the meta image. And that is what we looked at earlier, displaying on like search results or Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all sorts of things. We're also controlling all the content here, so you can, have this thumbnail controlled here, and the heading, the subheading, the about section. It's all held in Cosmic, and this is great. If you want to check out this template, we'll definitely have links for it. But if you want a turnkey solution, you can always just fork this or clone it and deploy it locally. And from there, you don't even have to touch any of the code. You can just go in and edit all the content here. So yeah, we're able to get all of these properties from Cosmic. And what I've actually done here is I wanted to create a simple helper function as a fallback. So I created this get metadata helper function, which is super simple, but basically it just uses the nullish coalescing operand to say, okay, if we get this object, great, return it. But if it's coming back null, so if we have any issues, um, getting it from our CMS, we're just going to set a fallback, and I have the fallback set to empty string by default. But in this case, for example, it's very common to have a global like metadata image. So we've got that pulling from our homepage object here. And if that does not exist, so we can actually test this here, right? I'll go in and I'm going to remove this default, and I will just set this default of this wallpaper. Now this is going to be the default for our entire website. And as you could see, this is the live link here. If I were to just go in here and paste this, you should see the exact same thing because that's just what we're using on the page. However, if we remove this, it's going to default to these site settings, which we want because that way we don't have to fall back on empty values for the metadata. And this is a pattern you can actually use in your entire application for a lot of things, which you can default to. So let's just go ahead and do it again. And there we go. You got the desktop wallpaper there being used as a fallback. So you never go, you set this once and you never go without a meta image. And in Cosmic, we have validation. So we've set this to required so that the user physically, can't leave this unpopulated. But if that were the case, then we do still say, okay, if it is unpopulated, we don't want to break our application. We don't want that. I don't know if you've ever seen it in Next.js, but that just white screen of internal says something like internal server error. It's just not a pretty screen. Of course, I'm sure you could handle that to show a different screen, but we don't want our users to run into that just over some missing metadata. So we're going to keep this required, and add back in this one here, even though it's the same thing. So this is nice. With Next.js, it allows you to just use their API to get all of this in there. Pulling the data in from Cosmic, we're able to control it in there and reuse all these properties. Set it once, set it up for everything. And another thing here, we can set a lot of global metadata in our layout components. And what I've done here is I've pulled the site URL, enable robots as a switch in Cosmic, and what I've done here is I've set this metadata base, which sets the base URL for our website. That's coming from Cosmic. And then also we can control these robots indexing, follow no cache, the Googlebot indexing, follow no image index, and we can control that all in Cosmic. You can set this up however you like, however you need it to. But basically what I've set up here is you can go to site settings, and this is where I like to control some just global things and treat it like the configuration of your web app or website. And you can make this as robust as you need. But what I've done here is I've got this enable robots. So if we go into our application here, actually rather we'll go into localhost. So because we are not revalidating these properties. And I'm not sure. So essentially we look here, we see the robots, no index, no follow. We'll simply, you can put this to true, and it might take a couple of seconds here. Give it a couple of refreshes. And there we go. You see it's all updated now. So now it's index follow no cache, index follow no image index. And so we've been able to control that here in Cosmic. Essentially, I think that simply changing this and then triggering a rebuild manually might be the way to go, but you can get crafty with it yourself. And yeah, we made it easy to do a turnkey kind of solution and get fired up and going with this template by just being able to change some of these properties. We're also handling the about page, and let's take a quick look at what this dynamic metadata looks like, because we do have a blog in this template. So we are statically generating a bunch of pages here. And we're doing more or less the same exact thing as the other pages. We are simply just getting the params from each post. So by going into a post and any of these like Next.js image with React Markdown, we are able to get the params from the page component here and access them in generate metadata. So we pass these params in here, and now we have access to them. So yeah, we're able to do things like get the current page, get the params, get the slug through the params, so that we have a nice URL here in the metadata. You can set a canonical here as well. Here we go. We got the OG URL. Dynamically doing that. If we go to any other page, it updates perfectly, and it's all handled here. So yeah, I think that's really it for this one for the most part. I just wanted to, demonstrate the composability of Headless CMS and this metadata API, and of course, other solutions like Next SEO did this as well. But now you have a built-in solution with Next.js to really utilize these things under the hood. No extra packages. It's all very well documented. You can view it on their docs. You can see all of these properties that you can access, these metadata, these meta tags that you can set, and it's very straightforward to use. So yeah, guys. And I just wanted to take a couple of minutes here to talk about our deprecation schedule as well. And if you haven't yet, if you are an existing V1 user and you haven't come over to the new dashboard, we highly recommend it. We are planning a deprecation schedule, which our V1 dashboard and API will be discontinued on December 21st, 2023, which you will no longer have access to the V1 dashboard, the REST API for the V1, the REST API for the V2. The Cosmic NPM module, the old version, the Cosmic CLI, the Gatsby source plugin, the old versions, and the GraphQL API v1, v2, and v3. We have a upgrade guide that you can visit over at www.cosmicjs.com/doc/upgrade guide, where we walk you through the process of essentially packaging up your old dashboard in a JSON file and importing it back in. We are more than happy to help. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us over at www.cosmicjs.com/contact. Give us a shout over there, and we're more than happy to help you if you run into any issues. But we want you to be aware of this deprecation schedule. And we're very proud of our new dashboard and highly suggest you to experience all of the new upgrades and just the new look and feel of it, and the way you edit content, the cohesiveness is really just next level, especially compared to our old dashboard. So we highly recommend you to make the jump. If you are a new user, feel free to come over to our sign up page. It's free to start. You can build a lot with Cosmic, and as a newer developer, you can bootstrap some awesome portfolio projects and not really have to worry much about the back end. Like, you can handle a lot of the back end in Cosmic, which is great. As an experienced developer, you can, the same thing. You can save yourself some time and get your content powered websites up and running, really for free, with our free plans. So yeah, guys, I'm going to leave some links down in the description, some resources as far as, our Next.js developer portfolio, some information about the Metadata API. Hope you enjoyed this one, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.